Hi, good morning. I'm just going to do a tiny short session this morning, just a little bit in standing, which is what we've been doing in our class. Huge thank you to Hazel for letting me use her room and have a bit of sanity. So we're just going to come to standing. So just take a moment just to feel the feet to the floor. And then take a little bit of lift up through the spine, just feel a bit of length up through the crown of the head. Just nice, easy, lifted posture. Arms loose by the side. Just going to take a breath in and let the shoulder blades lift up. Then as you exhale, let the shoulder blades glide down. Do a few more, inhaling up. Exhaling, releasing back down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. I'm going to do two more. Inhaling, the shoulder blades glide and lift. And exhaling, the shoulder blades glide and slide back down. As you glide the shoulder blades back down, just think about lifting up through the crown of the head. From there, we're going to float the arms up. So just going to let them float up and then return back down. As they float up, the shoulder blades glide around the back of the rib cage. And I find their easy movement, gliding up and gliding back down. Trying as much as possible to keep the upper part of the shoulder muscles relaxed and released. So letting the movement come from the shoulder blades gliding rather than hiking the shoulders up and then trying to move. So just a nice, easy glide up. And then back down. One more time. From there, we're just going to bring the hands and just rest them onto the chest. So I'm going to put my thumbs onto my chest, or you could put your fingers on. And then from there, I'm just going to breathe in through the nose. And exhale, release. Each time I breathe in, I'm going to find a little bit of height into the chest. I'm going to let the breath rise the chest up. Almost as if you've got two little strings onto the top of your breastbone or your collarbone, and they're just reaching you up towards the ceiling. That little lift up. So it's just a very small extension. Using the inhale to lengthen you up. Almost feeling like I'm drawing the ribs downwards as I lengthen through the upper section of my spine. Just coming into this upper thoracic extension, it's almost invisible. And then release back down. One more. And then we're going to use that in the next exercise. So the arms float up, inhaling. Exhaling, bend the elbows to the side. Draw the elbows down and let the shoulder blades come down and together. As you do that, take a breath in and let that little part and let the breath lift the upper part of your chest. And then keep that little extension as you reach the arms by the side of the body and find length up through the spine. And then we're going to come up and over. Just take a half roll down to let the breastbone come back, the ribs come back. Just a little roll. And then restack the spine, coming back up to standing. So we go, arm floats up. Exhale, bend to the side. Draw the elbows down and the shoulder blades glide towards one another. Inhale, lift the chest a little, just into the upper section of the chest. Breastbone lifts. And then you reach the arms by the side, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then we bring that into a flexion, up and over, just a small flexion up and over. Restacking, exhaling, coming back up. Inhaling, just to let the arms float. Exhaling to bend. Draw the elbows down. Inhale into the chest. Reach the arms coming into dart. And then flexing, exhaling, coming up and over. Lifting back up. We're just going to do two more. So just floating the arms. Exhale, bend. Inhale, a little lift into the chest. Pressing the arms down, keeping that length, and then coming forwards into flexion. One last time, rolling up. Easy glide. Bending, drawing down, shoulder blades come together. Inhale, lift through the chest, lift through the breastbone. Find that lift up, lengthening the whole time, then flexing up and over. Coming up and over, coming a little bit further, just letting the knees be soft. Just let the body move at the bottom. And then let's bring it down so that we bend the knees fully, so you're coming into a little ball position. Inhaling there, exhaling, pressing the heels to the floor, lengthening up through the back of the legs, trying to lift the sit bones up, lifting up through the center as you roll the spine back up through into standing. Just do two more. So we're going to exhale, nod the head, draw the breastbone back, the ribs lift, feel a flexion all the way through the spine, coming all the way over with soft legs, coming down into a tight ball position. And then as you exhale, press the heels to the floor, lengthen up through the back of your legs. Exhale, lifting up through the center, rolling the spine back up to standing. One more time, inhale. Exhale to roll. Inhale, soften. Tight ball from tailbone to head. Exhale, press the feet to the floor. Roll all the way back through into standing from there. We're going to come down onto the mat and come into 4-point kneeling. Check that you can still see me. Okay. So just coming down onto hands and knees, so just coming into 4-point kneeling. From there, we're just going to find neutral spine, so pelvis, rib cage, and head in a line with one another. And from there, I'm just going to take a little rock forward and back. So just that little rock onto the hands, little rock onto the knees. And then from there, I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm creasing at the hip joint, folding at the hips, and coming back, trying to keep my spine in neutral. So I come back, I'm trying not to tuck the tailbone and round, almost thinking about sending the sit bones up towards the ceiling. So it's just a little hinge back. Ooh, I feel I'm slightly tucking. And then come forward. So just going to try and keep the spine straight, or as straight as you can, as you walk forward and back. And you think about the work or the exercise happening at the hip joint. And then from there, we've been coming into this where we internally rotate one leg. So from the front, it would look, my legs would look like they're in that position. So slightly internally rotated my leg. And then we do the same thing. So it's a slight internal rotation. And then that same thing, just coming forwards and back, keeping neutral spine, sending the tailbone backwards and up. And then let's go with the other leg. So internally rotate the right leg, coming back and forward. And forward. And then we do both. So you internally rotate both legs. So from the front, it would look like that, almost like I'm not kneed in that position. And again, I'm creasing at the hip joint. And I know I've mentioned it in class, but any hip replacements, this isn't not an exercise recommended for you because of the internal rotation and flexion. So just stay with parallel, or change it and come into just a cat if that feels better. So from here, we're going to come over towards the right knee, send the weight down and up and around to the left knee. Some circling around in this internal rotation. And go the other way, around to the left, up and around. So you've got this movement of the head of the thigh bone in the pelvis, loosening off some of the tissue around the hip joints. And then from there, just coming back to neutral, legs back to parallel. I just take a few where we roll the tailbone, coming into cat, releasing back out, tiny little lift. Exhale, roll. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, roll. Inhale, lengthen. From there, just take the knees apart, toes together, neutral spine. If you can, sink back into neutral spine rather than rounding, and then just rest down onto the mat. And that's it for now. That's it for this section. I will do more later.